Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Davo, Tom and Callum here for the podcast, which is some exclusive content we have for you before we get into what we did on the show today.
So you will hear in the podcast today, I talk about a very magical experience I had on a sea lion cruise.
Magical is one way to put it.
Yeah, basically I had a Core-Gasm.
A Core-Gasm? Is that what they call them?
So I looked Tom dead in the eye when I said that as well.
I quickly looked away and closed my eyes.
I tried to pretend she wasn't tensing her abs while she was looking at me. She was trying to reach a Core-Gasm in the studio.
So a Core-Gasm.
Saw a vein pop in her forehead.
Oh, stop. Yeah, you can get it out now that we're not on air. Go on. But yeah, basically it's this thing that happens to girls when they exercise usually, but I was on a boat and I was tensing my core because it was quite rough.
Yeah.
Rough enough to reach a peak of the trip.
This is a common thing in women, is it?
Yeah, apparently.
When you do core exercises, you have a Core-Gasm.
Yeah, so, well, not all the time, obviously. I'd never experienced it before. And like I said, I reckon I'm unlucky enough that it will never happen again.
I like how you're up with the lingo now as well. Like, are you on a Core-Gasm Reddit page?
You going to Core-Gasm group on Tuesdays?
Yeah,
it's like Pilates but dirtier.
I bloody thought I was an absolute creep of a thing. I had to make sure I was okay.
Yeah. Oh God, jeez.
But anyway,
I reckon I'd be an Olympian if I was a woman. Yeah. Knowing my tendencies.
Constantly doing the ab exercises.
Yeah, I wouldn't be saying that on a recorded program here, Tom, because shocking. Anyway. We were doing this on air and I was obviously very nervous to do this on air because I thought, geez, it's an overshare. It might be a TMI. People might get put off their Fruit Loops in the morning.
Oh, I doubt it.
But thank you, Tom. But I said I said to you boys before we went on air, I gave you a stern talking to, didn't I?
You did. Because me and Tom were flooding, excuse the pun, puns about, the situation and, little jokes here and there. To which the point, David, you said, hey, you're going to have to rein it in for this. And there are parameters for such a segment if it's on air.
Yes, you said if we do go too gross with it, you're not going to be happy and you're really going to let us know about it all morning, possibly all week.
Yeah.
And then there was also the other hand.
You've just seen the look Callum just gave me.
Well, I'm giving the look because she's tried to blackmail us, Tom.
Yeah, on the other hand, you said, you know what? No, I won't even just be upset. I will blackmail you. I will say something about the two of you on live radio, which is like just a complete lie. But what are you gonna do? This is like the perfect thing to say to a male because you can't defend it because then it looks like
you're really
it's
groveling.
True.
Yeah, and then it looks true.
But you don't want to be like, yeah, whatever, because then it also looks like it's true.
Yeah, you're really confident with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said to you, I'd go on air and tell everyone about the size of your appendages and wouldn't be very flattering about it.
You said, I'm going to tell everyone you have tiny penises on live radio.
It would really actually stunt us because, like you said, on air your instinct would to be like, no, we don't, and that you don't want to be too stressed out about it. It would really put a landslide.
I looked at Callum. I saw sweat dripping down. He looked at me. He saw me shaking. We didn't know what to do, so
let's just leave it.
We thought we'd play it safe for once.
I feel like depending on my mental health for the week, I probably would do it.
Yeah, it could be a Friday and you're feeling a bit loose.
Absolutely off you two for the week. You've come in after a big night and I thought, right, we're on here.
The next morning you see me and Tom have put on our own private Instagrams some nude mirror selfies just to establish the fact.
I am pretty surprised. We've been doing the show for almost 2 years now and you haven't actually seen our privates yet.
Well, no, I haven't.
We can change this so the blackmail can be true.
No, that was. Do you remember that one?
You're lucky you met me right after my big nude phase.
Nah, Callum did show me a picture once.
It was for like a medical reason, and there's
yeah.
there's specific verbal recordings to say that you consent to seeing the picture. I made sure,
Yeah.
and it was a little rash kind of thing that I had to show. It was about a year ago.
And shame for you bringing it back up now.
I mean, I want to assimilate with the medical community, and make people feel right to have a rash down there because it is fine. And you shouldn't ever feel blackmailed either.
I don't have like any private folders on my phone or anything, and every now and then, when you think, oh, looking pretty good today, get a quick snap.
It's dicey.
So many people have gone through my photos and been like, what the hell? And I'm like, whoop.
Whoopsie. Yeah, it's a dodgy territory that we're heading into there. But you wait till you hear this sea lion story. It's a cracker.
It's coming up next. Let's get into the podcast.
You're listening to Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
Jeez, I can't wait for this. I'm going to have to hold my tongue.
Oh, you are. Now, this is very embarrassing, and I've given you both a very, very stern talking to off air as to what the parameters are with how cheeky you can get with this story.
There's stern talking tos, and then there's just straight up blackmail.
Well, and that offer is still on the table, boys. We'll see how the next 3 minutes go.
Yes, we've been threatened if we say anything too much about this story. So if you hear me and Tom go a little bit silent in this one.
Yeah. Friendships are on the line.
Literally, this breakfast show is on the line. Now... It is very embarrassing, so brace yourself. But hey, I've put myself onto this position in life where I'm sharing these details with the Fresh fam. So I was in South Africa recently, and I was staying in Camps Bay by myself before meeting up with my family. And so I had free time and I could do whatever I wanted, which was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so one morning I woke...
Anything.
Just wait. And one morning I woke up and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go check out Seal Island. Now, it's this island just off the coast of Cape Town, and basically, hundreds of seals live there and just have the greatest time. And if there's one thing you need to know about me is I bloody love a sea lion.
Yeah,
great.
You've been, since we've joined the show, and I believe even before that, you have been trying your hardest to get us an opportunity to swim with sea lions.
Yeah, in Port Lincoln. And
Yeah.
hey, Port Lincoln Tourism, if you're listeing, send us over. Although they might not. Actually, after this story.
They might not want you.
They may not.
Tom and Callum can go.
But yes, Davo, it has been your dream to be amongst the sea lions. Yes, like Tom said, since we started the breakfast show, pretty much it's been in cahoots.
Yeah, so anyway, I decided I'd book this little cruise and I'd head down to the harbour. So off I went to the harbour. Anyway, I get to the boat and it is rough as guts on the sea. It is going wild. We are getting thrown around on this boat like absolutely nobody's business. But we get down to Seal Island and I see all the sea lions and I'm so happy, as you can imagine, elated, smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you know anything about me, it's that I freaking love sea lions. Yep, that's me on the day. Just saying how much I love them. Anyway, so we are returning back to the dock and the water is really giving it heaps. Like, it has gone so rough now that you had to hold on.
Yeah, okay.
And I was a bit worried about my lower back because I've had a few injuries before. So I was bracing my core as hard as I could. And I mean bracing it. Like, I am trying to protect all of my muscles and my lower back and everything.
Sure.
Anyway, all of a sudden, this weird but familiar feeling sort of came over me. And we went over a couple of bumps and...
There was
Yeah.
a sea lion music festival.
No, there was fireworks, and I don't want to say any more than that. But
What are we doing? Straddling the engine.
No, this has never happened to me before, and I'm that unlucky. It will never happen again. But I did look it up.
I know you love sea lions. Like, jeez.
Yeah. 5-star review on TripAdvisor. Can I give a 6-star?
I just need to say I did look it up after, and apparently this is really common for women.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's an exercise thing. At the gym, it happens to them a lot, but this happened to me.
Was there anybody? Was the captain turning around being like, what the hell?
No, I didn't make a scene out of it.
Well, you know why they got rid of the ball in the wool shed, right?
First you get the sugar, then you get the power, then you get the Davo, Tom and Callum podcast.
Guys, over the weekend, it was sort of the end of local footy around here in South Australia. The grand finals have all been played now. It's all done and over with, which means all the celebrations sort of happened over the weekend as well.
It feels like a holiday kind of thing, like Halloween or something. Like everyone is just involved. You hear about it everywhere. You're seeing the videos come up. You're seeing the dress ups. It's absolutely huge. Even if you don't play footy, you still get involved.
But I also think with grassroots footy, because the stakes are low, it's your local club, people get absolutely filthy. They go full feral.
Oh, yeah. And that's I mean, to be honest, I reckon maybe 50% of the people that play local football are hanging out for this time of the season.
Yeah, it's probably half the reason they play.
Well, it's just like, you play one game and you're welcome to come to the silly Sunday.
Yeah. It's G grade, whatever. Like they just popped in, stood on the oval for a bit and got to go to silly Sunday.
Now, yes, of course, you have all your different variations, your Super Saturdays, your silly Sundays, your Mad Mondays. And, to respect the rules of such celebrations, we're not going to be asking too much about it because we know a lot of the things that go on probably can't be shared on radio anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when we had Mad Monday a little while ago for the soccer teams, I asked my friend Jimmy Mack, who's like the ultimate boys, lads, and he literally said, there's nothing I can tell you that you can say on air. Yeah. And I was like, great, well, thanks for your help.
I mean, there's nothing... if I were to divulge to you off air about a lot of the silly Sundays I've been a part of, there's nothing I would really want to tell you, because you'd think less of me.
Oh, interesting, right.
And I know that's pretty hard because you already think they're minimal.
No, Tom.
I think she thinks less of you now that you've admitted that. She doesn't want to know what goes on.
So what I do want to talk about, though, is the costumes. Now, each club, they sort of do their own theme. Sometimes it's open theme, come as what you want. I mean, I've been to one where they were like dynamic duos. Me and my mate Will came as bananas in pajamas. We have a great picture of the both of us on motorcycles. We knew the owner of the motorcycle.
How does that make you feel that he went as a dynamic duo with someone else?
Oh, destroyed. Why couldn't is there not room for a third banana? I know it's not in the banana law, but...
You could have been a rat in the hat or whatever. But when we had... So we haven't officially had our silly Sunday yet. We just sort of had celebrations after winning the flag. And we, on the Sunday... our club pub shut down for us, as well as the other footy club they sponsor, which is PAC Old Collegians.
Oh, nice.
So they had the upstairs, we had the downstairs. There wasn't much crossover, but there was a little bit. And, geez, I've got to give a shout-out to the PAC Old Col boys because some of their outfits were absolutely amazing.
Yeah?
I mean, one of the standouts for me was seeing Homer Simpson. Now,
did they go the full face paint?
That's the thing. The commitment to this Homer Simpson was pretty amazing. He's done the full body paint all across the entire body. He's got the big tummy going on. He's painted the beard around himself. It was cursed. It was something that I feel like there are probably videos of on the internet for certain people.
Parallel universe. Yeah.
I feel like those sort of costumes after a few drinks as well are particularly scary. Like imagine just being a bit loose and you turn around and that's behind you.
Imagine being in a dark nightclub. Yeah. Seeing Homer Simpson, a realistic looking one.
Paint's peeling off, looking a bit raggedy.
They had there was all the Top Gun guys, Goose and Maverick who were all there.
Great.
They had a couple boys from the Glenelg Footy Club who, of course, won the SANFL Premiership on that Saturday, rock up, and they were already dressed to the nines. But what I want to do is open up the text line. And I want to know, in your opinion, if you were at a Silly Sunday or a Super Saturday or a Mad Monday this weekend, what was the best costume? Who was best dressed?
Hey, even if you want a big note yourself, if you really think you had the best costume, show that through.
I had a friend, Rebecca. She does netball, not footy, but she had a Silly Sunday and she was dressed as Alan from The Hangover. Had the whole beard, had the baby on her chest. It was very funny.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those come through the footy club before. By the end of the night, the baby has disappeared. Some of these men should never be fathers.
Someone said here, my mate came as an anti-smoking ad. He cares about the health of our state. And good on him. Good on him.
I bet you anything. He had a durry in hand at one point.
No.
I can only assume.
This one here, lots of Bailey Smiths going around. The wig store would have done well that weekend.
Hey, if you have an iconic haircut, you know you're gonna have a few people dressing up as you.
G'day, guys. 4 of us midfielders came as the Wiggles. I organised the outfits and made one of them a tearaway outfit. It was like Russian roulette. We all knew one of us had the tearaway, but no one knew who, and none of us were allowed to wear underwear.
Hey. Someone said...
Oh, the Wiggles are a disgrace.
I don't think I want to see Murray like that.
Toot, toot, chugga, chugga.
Jeez, wake up, Jeff. Seriously.
Someone said here, our club went as geriatrics. A lot of us look like geriatrics the next day, even without the makeup.
Yeah.
Big one.
Geelong Cats did that after they won the flag. The oldest team ever to do it. Yeah.
This one here says, morning team, our C grade coach came as the naked, greased up deaf guy from Family Guy. He was 54. What a sight.
Do it below,
running through the forest.
below 30. I love this one here. The Lord of the Rings lads must have been on their trek to Mordor pub because Frodo, Sam were all there with hair glued to their feet as well. That is, I mean, you were saying before someone came home as Simpson, well, like, what about the effort to paint yourself yellow? I reckon that's a bit of effort to put fake hair on your feet and
Where'd
have
they
people
get
say
the
that.
hair?
Oh, who knows? Cat from the street.
Now, look, I'm sorry, guys, but this one is my absolute favourite. It says, my friend dressed up as South Aussie with Cozzy before the weight loss surgery.
You're listening to Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
Boys, we're in the thick of it. It's that time of the year. It's the Magpie swooping season. So usually this happens between July and December every year, but September, October is the real hot spot for it.
I go around my suburbs in fear when I walk around. I'll go for a stroll at around 5, 6 p.m. Worst time for it, you know. You see them all like going for the worms in the grass, and they hunt in packs. And you actually, no, I get terrified. I feel the need to like cross the road if I see a group of them.
Yeah,
They're
Like they're a bunch
intimidating.
of delinquents.
Yeah. A bunch of loiterers playing with marbles on the side of the road, doing
Absolutely.
graffiti.
But it's fair enough, because if you've ever been swooped by a magpie, you'll never want it to happen again, because terrifying.
Look, guys, I'm taking a bit of a different stance this year with the Magpies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm all for them. You know what? Let's just stay out their way. If you don't mess with them, they don't mess with us.
What, you're one with them? You're like the Crow now.
Yeah. I am
You're gonna
like the Crow.
Walk around with magpies on your shoulders.
So,
Down your arms.
I mean, magpies will only defend their territory within 50 metres of the nest. So if you know there's a nest, avoid your walking, like change your walking route if you can, because horrible, you don't want it to happen to you. But also, if you're on a bike, that's where you're going to be in trouble, because if there's anything fast moving, big and fast, they're going to get you. So be careful. If you're walking, you're in better things. Another thing you could do, you can carry an open umbrella, or wear sunglasses, or put googly eyes on your hat.
Googly
Okay.
eyes
Yeah,
on
because
the hat.
they don't like eye contact.
Oh, okay. So if your eyes are going all around the shop,
Yeah,
then
I'll be like, oh my god, what's with that bloke's eyes?
they're on the back of his head and they're going everywhere.
Come on, Murray, let's not mess with that freak.
So last year we were doing the constant magpie alert sort of updates, giving you the attack numbers. Now 2023 has been absolutely wild for attacks in Australia.
Yeah, right.
This is what we've got on the account so far. 1,833 attacks have happened.
Wow.
218 injuries.
Wow.
218 injuries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel like that is bigger than last year.
Yes, it is. It has to have been. Like,
Yeah.
it's so full on. And now this one I thought was quite funny. So we had from, let's say funny, probably not for him, but so in Fulham Gardens, this guy was attacked. His name's Ian, and he says, birds serenaded me with a beautiful singing, and I fed it some feed, took extra back to its nest. I was injured as she hurt my feelings when she flew away.
Wow. So he was caught up by the siren song of the magpie.
It was an emotional attack.
Why'd you leave? Not even the googly eyes can save you from the emotional attack from a magpie.
Sometimes me think, what is friend? Then me say, friend is someone to listen to Davo, Tom and Callum podcast. Cookie, nom 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 nom.
Guys, going to a footy game, you expect the only people to get an injury are the actual footy players. So it is pretty awkward if you cop one yourself. And this happened to someone we know. He was at one of the footy games recently at Adelaide Oval, and he's gone into one of the cubicles to do a number 2.
Yeah.
And is sitting down on the toilet. Davo, don't grimace. Don't grimace.
I say, don't be gross about it.
We're all human here. We're all mammals.
There's a book about it. Everyone poops.
We'll let you do that, and let's just leave it there.
But he's sitting on the toilet, and everyone... Yeah.
I mean, can I add in as well? This guy, but like it's a crucial part to this story.
Okay.
He was busting, David. Like,
Okay.
this is
It was
like
important.
This is important. This is do or die moment.
Yeah, literally. So he's ran to the toilet, he's hopped down, and in such a rush, he hasn't even locked the door, Davo.
Yeah.
He's literally just sat down and thought, God, I just need to get rid of this. I'm in such a rush. And he's left wedged a tiny bit, a little slither open. He's still blocking it, but he's going to do his business.
Surely you're trying to put your feet up on the door or something.
Not enough time.
Oh,
Not enough time.
Well, instead of putting his feet up on the door, I believe he was in a bit of pain. He was sort of hunched over a little bit.
Jeez, this bloke's in a bad way.
Yeah.
He's not doing well, is he?
So his head and body, torso, are protruding over his knees, if you can imagine that, because he's bent over.
Yeah, he's folded over.
Anyways, someone who's clearly been on the beers all day has gone into the bathroom and for whatever reason felt the need to karate kick the door. He karate kicks that door, slams into his face, breaks his nose as is on the toilet. Mid number 2.
Yeah, and out of all the cubicles, this guy could have picked to karate kick a door.
Do you reckon the Karate Kid? Do you reckon he wanted to go in and use the toilet himself, or do you reckon he was just going around kicking every door one by one, asserting his dominance?
I have no idea what was going through this bloke's mind.
But also, with the guy there, where do you go from there? Obviously, when you break your nose, a lot of the time it's bleeding.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. And
So-
he's sitting there. What happens?
So he's sort of let out a bit of a groan, like a ugh. There's blood coming out of his nose after the doors smacked him right into it. He's copped a little bit of concussion, so he's a bit dazed now.
That's terrible.
And now these guys have opened up the door. They're like, oh crap, sorry mate, why wouldn't you lock the door? He can barely respond.
Yeah, where do you reckon the karate bloke ran off to? He's like, God, I gotta go back to the dojo, my safe spot. They won't find me here.
Do you reckon karma might have played a role in this for this bloke, or what?
Maybe, I don't know. But either way, he copped it pretty bad.
Yeah, so next thing, people are helping out. Paramedics have arrived. It's gotten pretty bad to the point where he's sort of laying there on the bathroom floor. No one's helped, dress him back appropriately.
Well, I guess because he didn't have any mates there. So the unfortunate thing is he had a lot of bystanders coming into the urinals and stuff to see what happened. And no one's willing to be the ones to be like, I'll bring his pants up. So it is a very vulnerable spot to be in with a broken nose. He hated that footy game.
I mean, yeah, that is a bad situation.
Did his team lose as well?
Can you imagine being wheeled out on the stretcher?
You're listening to Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
Don't you feel special when you take your pet somewhere and they're allowed to come inside with you?
Yeah, well, you got to bring your dog Bentley here to Fresh recently, and you felt like a king of the place. Look at my pug.
Yeah.
This is my pug.
Absolutely did, and everyone loved him. It was his birthday on the weekend. Another shout out to Bentley, 5 years old. Big boy.
He's a huge boy.
2 shout-outs.
He's a huge boy.
I hope you didn't get any other presents.
No, not from me. But we are going to travel over to Kent for this next story, where this man, Dave Brooker, aged 56, has quite the unusual pet. One that you wouldn't really usually see, I guess, taken out with you. And it's a turkey.
Yeah, okay.
Now, it's not just any turkey. This man loves turkey eggs, right, over chicken eggs. So he's got turkeys instead of chickens.
Okay, so the guy is super weird looking. He really looks like who you'd suspect to carry around a turkey. And, these weird animals, I guess, Can we expect turkey cafes now? How we have cat cafes? You know, is he going to start one of those franchises up?
He definitely looks like a colourful character. You know, he looks like an eccentric bloke, and obviously,
You know what? It looks a
loving
bit like
turkey
Ken
eggs.
Hinckley, to be honest.
Okay,
A little bit.
a little bit of a swipe there, mate. Mr. Crows over there.
But no, he lives over in Kent, and he had this turkey, and they called the first mother turkey Turkey Trouble. And when this next turkey came out, it sort of imprinted on Dave. So
Are you doing a Twilight reference here?
I guess so. I guess I am. Yeah, it's thought that Dave was the mum.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
So it's following Dave around, and Dave
bonded.
fell in love with it. Not enough to give it a real name. He's just called it T2, which is short for Turkey Trouble version 2.
Okay. And what's he doing? What's he
just-
getting up to? Like,
Yeah, what's the deal with him?
Convince me that this guy isn't a freak. What's he
Oh
doing
no,
that's
I'm
normal
here
with
to
the bird?
completely sit down and tell you how much of a freak he is. So basically, he loves taking his turkey to a visit to Tesco, which is a supermarket over there. He's beloved by the people, and this turkey's other favourite place to go, right? And this might tickle your interest, Callum, is the pub.
Oh.
The White Horse pub in Maidstone, and he loves to sit there and munch on some cheese and onion crisps.
I've always thought you were a bit of a turkey, Callum. This is a.
There's a bit of a resemblance to the pub favourites. Yeah.
I'm just reading here. His favourite snack is cheese and onion crisps.
Yeah. At the pub, they go there together. Dave will have a beer. The turkey might have a little sip of beer, you know.
I can't
you
believe
give
that.
your-
That would really piss me off if like someone brought a turkey to the pub.
No, people love this turkey. I mean, some people think their bond is a little unorthodox and a little weird, but nonetheless, I mean, this turkey's a bit of a local celebrity over in the town of Kent, and they go on a lot of drives together. Sometimes when they're bored, they'll just hit the road together.
Imagine
And
that.
he'll honk the horn at people when they drive by, and they'll wave because they'll see T2, the turkey.
Yeah,
They're
right.
like, oh, it's T2.
Them flying through in a convertible, like there's a
Yeah.
scarf around the turkey's head.
Yeah, he's got the sunnies on. It's like a Christmas pageant every day for turkeys.
You know, I love a colourful character chat. There's a guy in my neighbourhood that walks his cat on a leash.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love that stuff. You
There's
know, just
a-
a guy doing his best, living
Can't-
his best life.
Can't wait to see the cat at the pub.
There's
That's
a
the next
guy
step, right?
in my neighbourhood that walks his goat around on a leach. I
amazing.
live in Norwood. There's not much farmland around.
Adelaide, what have you seen walked on a leash?
0428927927. What'd you see on a leash? But it gets even weirder with this turkey, right? They sleep in the same bed together.
Oh, we left that pretty late.
yeah. Hang on. I
All
would
this
have led with
normal,
that.
all this normalish stuff.
I wouldn't
about
call
the
any
pub.
of this normal. He goes to the pub, he drinks Dave's beer, he
It's-
eats Dave's cheese and onion crisps.
But they're
They go to
sharing a
Tesco
bed.
together.
It's a hell of a lot more
They-
normal than them shacking up
They
together.
go on long drives together when they're bored, and well, it just says they sleep in the same room together, but we all know what that means.
I mean, I'm looking at the
Yuck.
now I'm looking at the photo of him with the turkey on the front page, and he's tickling its chin. It's now made me feel sick.
Yeah, gobble gobble.
Put down the mic. What's in the podcast? What's in the podcast?
Davo, Tom and Callum, the podcast.
And we are about to chat about the Brownlow, which of course happened last night, always on the Monday night before the AFL Grand Final. And geez, it was one of the better Brownlow votes that we've seen in the last few years. It wasn't one standout winner. It went all the way to the last round in round 24.
Incredible. And I mean, I was very excited because I love the red carpet, you see.
Yeah,
The dresses, the frocks, the ladies looking amazing. I love it.
That's the best thing about the Brownlow night is it's got something for everyone. If you don't really care about the footy or the medal count that much, you've got the red carpet to look forward to, and that's always a bit of fun. They always get some young Oz kicker kid to do a couple interviews with the big stars. That's always a good time. It's a
Yeah,
laugh.
nah, heaps of fun. But obviously, like you said, Tom, the count was pretty ruthless, and it was jumping between a lot of people. And there's so many points someone would be in the top 3, then they would go off the list, then they'd be back in the top 5, and it just shot around so much. So, a bit of an intense watch.
Yeah, before we get too far into the votes, I want to talk about the the Mark of the Year, which went to Harry Himmelberg at GWS Giants. He actually had 2 entries into the Mark of the Year, and it was, he ended up taking it out with quite a flyer in round 1 against the Adelaide Crows, against our ruckman, Riley O'Brien. I mean, this guy flew so high, he stood on Riley O'Brien's head for felt like a lifetime. So that was very impressive. Goal of the year went to young Will Ashcroft at Brisbane Lions, who... I don't even know how to explain this goal. It was insane. Basically, there's 17 people trying to tackle him. He's caught the ball mid-air. Before he's landed, quickly shoved it on the boot right from the pocket, somehow split the pin and just went right through the middle of the sticks.
Yeah, great stuff.
Did they have robbery of the year for the Adelaide Crows or what?
They didn't, but they really should start adding that in. Hey? Like, what's that award in the movies? The Frazzies or something?
Yeah. I know the one, the Razzies.
The Razzies.
Yeah, never too late for that one. Should be a good addition for next year.
Of course, the Jim Steins Community Leadership Medal went to Sam Doherty for all his work in the cancer field. Obviously, surviving 2 cancer attacks as well, so that was very emotional. He spoke extremely well as well, so that was great. But then, of course, the main event, the Brownlow count, Lockie Neal from the Brisbane Lions ended up winning it for the second time. He won it back in 2020. Kind of sucks for Lockie Neal because back in 2020 was COVID, so they weren't there. This year they're in the grand final, so he wasn't there. He's never been at the Brownlow medal count while he's won it.
How weird was that? Because he was at the Gabba. They had, their little setup there where, I guess he's corresponded through the TV. Such a weird one, though. Such a weird one to not be actually in the venue.
Well, also, if you're an interstate team and you're in the grand final, they don't travel.
But also, he couldn't celebrate either because, of course, he had 8 a.m. practice the next day and also the grand final days ahead.
One champagne could ruin him.
It was very funny to watch because they handed him the glass of champagne when they did the toast. He had one little tiny sip and then had to hand it back to their coach, Chris Fagan.
As he's eyeballing him.
A bit earlier in the night, Darcy Moore, the captain of Collingwood, who of course are also in the grand final, did the toast for all the retiring players. There was 30 of them. Once again, same thing. They brought one champagne glass. He had one tiny little sip and had to hand it back because obviously they don't want to drink before the grand final.
And also on camera.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have loved that drink. I don't know.
God, that tastes good, doesn't it? But Lockie Neal ended up stealing away 2 votes from Marcus Bontempelli, who in the last round took the lead from Nick Dacos on 28, who was leading it basically all night. I mean, he was going back and forth, but he was the red-hot favourite going into the night and didn't play the last 3 games of the home and away season due to a knee injury and still ended up finishing 3rd. I mean, as a 20-year-old kid, that's an amazing effort.
It's nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bont had, got possibly robbed there a few rounds. Another player that got robbed in the last 4 rounds who had some great games, Christian Petrarca, who was right up there. He plays for Melbourne, didn't cop a single vote in the last 4 games, although arguably won them a few of those games.
Wow.
Yeah, and for all the Port lovers there, Zach Butters did an awesome job as well. I mean, he was rising the ranks for quite a bit of that.
He was a bit of a blowout all throughout the night up until the very end, and then he ended up... 4th, actually. Yeah, tied 4th place.
Yeah, 4th, 5th, yeah. No, on my
4th,
leaderboard.
5th, same thing.
I've got a leaderboard here, and he's got 5th here, so...
Yeah, he's tied with Errol Goulden, who is also another young bloke from Sydney Swans, who in the last... in 10 games... Out of 6 of those 10 games, he polled max amount of votes with best on efforts. And he's only like 19, 20 years old as well.
Yeah, huge effort.
So cannot wait to see some of the amazing talent rising through the ranks of their AFL coming in the future years.
Hey, of course, we've got the grand final this weekend, though. Who are you tipping, Tom?
All right, so... I've got a little bit of they talked about it last night, but it's a bit of an omen where back in 2001, Jason Ackermanis won the Brownlow for Brisbane Lions.
The handstander himself.
Arguably stole that from Andrew McLeod from the Crows. He even came out and said in his acceptance speech, I stole this from Andrew McLeod tonight. But then they went on to win the grand final. 2002, Simon Black wins it. Here they go on to win the grand final again, back to back. This year, Lockie Neal wins it. I'm calling it now. I reckon Brisbane are going to beat Collingwood on the weekend.
Well, you've heard it here first.
That's
my
the
hot
MCG.
tip. You know what? Also, really annoying. I know everyone always says something like this, but I've actually got proof where I've told people beforehand. Lockie Neal paying $13 to win the Brownlow last night. I was saying to everyone, he's going to win it. $13. I know he was like the 5th or 6th favourite. I said he will win it. Mark my words. I'm not going to put anything on it because I don't want to look like an idiot. But why didn't I?
What?
You just use this. You just
Yeah,
use
I
your
feel like-
platform on radio to be like, I was actually right.
What just happened? I feel like you've used this medium now so you can safeguard the Brisbane win and recite this back next week and say, I told you so, Adelaide.
If Brisbane win it on the weekend, I've got talent. There's something going on here. God's on my side.
Voodoo.
Yeah, black magic.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.